What up, people? What's going on? It's your boy Topes and Slang Hugh, and we are the dynamic duo that runs the show called Darkness with a Ginger Hugh.
Word.
How's it going, Slang? What's up with you today?
It's going pretty good, man. I can't complain. It's a nice spring day in the winters of Toronto, so who can complain? It's like 16 degrees right now over here.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I mean, we had nice weather, but all of a sudden we got hit with a snowstorm right now. So I got
Oh,
tons of snow outside, and it's
hopefully that doesn't come this way.
-9, I think, right now. So I mean, it's above the norm of -25 or whatever. But again, when you're so used and comfortable with the whole +2, +3, and like,
Mhm.
oh, and you hit with that, it kind of throws you off. I'm like, oh well, here it is.
I mean, global warming is a terrible thing and all that, but I'm gonna enjoy it while it's in its early stages, quote unquote.
How I mean, I know we're gonna talk about some serious topics, but
Mm.
how serious do you think global warming is at this stage of our lives right now? Because we've heard it before.
In our
How
life.
severe? Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be around before. It's been there before us. It's gonna be there
yeah,
after us. What? Because they've talked about it before.
yeah.
How far gone do you think it has affected us
I
now?
think it's a serious issue. I do
Mm,
think it's serious. They do say that it's I guess sped up faster than earlier predicted, which is
to
not a
us.
good thing, quote unquote. I was watching this show on Netflix. I think I told you about it, called "You Are What You Eat."
Hmm, hmm.
And since we're kind of going an entertainment route,
Right,
real quick, so it's a show about they take researchers take a set of twins, like four sets of twins, so it's like eight people, but they're identical twins, so their biological makeup is basically exactly the same,
hmm,
and put them through uh, like a test. So one twin is going to eat meat or have a meat protein based diet.
right.
Not a protein based. That's a word. That's the wrong way to say it. They're going to have meat in their diet.
Okay,
Both diets are relatively healthy, but one is going to have meat. One is just going to be
plant
vegetarian,
based.
plant based,
Okay,
right?
okay,
And see how it affects them in all various ways. So
right,
the last episode I watched, what makes it actually even more interesting, because I thought it would just be, basically like body composition, weight, that
right.
that type of stuff, right?
Mhm, mhm,
But they also go into how the especially in North America, but the overall manufacturing or production of cattle
mhm,
is affecting the environment, and like not only cows but pigs as well. So like there's basically what they have to do to have the amount of cows that we consume, or that the market demands,
mhm,
quote unquote,
right.
is cut down rainforests, cut down trees in different areas so that the cows can graze. And then there's also, and if you see the size of these farms, it's acres and acres of thousands of cows
Mhm.
type thing. And their waste creates methane gas, which goes up into
At the air in the atmosphere,
the
yeah.
the atmosphere and causes more of a global warming thing. So it's and then you add on the transport of these animals to different markets by these big rig trucks, and that's
Mhm.
another pollution that's adding to the problem. Then there's like and that's just cows. Then they got into the to pork. They haven't even gotten into chicken yet, and what that does. So
Wow.
I say that to say it's interesting in how, as humans, almost everything that we're doing on this planet is destroying it.
So
In a
there
majority. I'm not saying
okay.
everybody, because obviously there are some very conscious people out there, but the majority of us, even just the way we eat, is destroying our environment.
Well, I was gonna say, no matter how conscious, how conscious you are in terms of what you're doing, you're still affecting
Still
the
contributing.
bottom line. Yeah, you're still part of the problem. Basically, again, what you're saying pretty much is that we weren't really meant to live the way we're supposed to live on
Oh,
this planet.
absolutely. And I think even the people who would argue that deep down know that we're not supposed to live that way, especially here, or especially in these quote unquote first world countries.
Mm,
What we and we've had these discussions numerous times on our shows just about how big business affects the way that we live, and we follow that. So like the example of the gas car, they've had electrical cars for decades, and
mhm,
only recently, like maybe what, the last 10 years,
right.
have they become prevalent in the market, or
Mainstream.
become
Yeah.
yeah. And they still don't, you can't, it's difficult for you to take a long drive if you're driving an e-car,
Electrical. Yeah. Yeah.
because where are you going to charge it?
Exactly.
So
And
they're not,
instead
it
of them making it more uh common in terms of getting
yeah,
their stations out there
accessible.
accessible for
Yeah,
you to do it, then instead of jacking up the price for these things and making the 1 to 2% only able to buy these things, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Then you have a solution, but
well,
you don't want to give it to everybody
no,
to
because you're
be
going to cut your current stream of income.
exactly.
And it's not even to say that an electrical car is good for the environment, because that's a different thing,
true,
but
true.
it's better than what we're doing. Quote unquote. At
Basically,
least it'll slow down.
the best form of transportation for the environment is
Absolutely. Bike riding.
walking and bike riding. That's
Yes.
it, really.
But
Other than that,
who's going back to
no,
that?
no. I'm just saying, just
No,
going full
yeah.
circle is that the only
Yeah.
way. So no matter if you're having an electric car, a hybrid car, gas, diesel, whatever, you're affecting the planet.
Right.
So understand that and do what you need to, you know, be conscious to what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Some people would just be driving off and again, I'm one, I would start my vehicle, and let it run to warm up. That's
Oh, I
causing
do that too.
whatever to affect the environment. So
Yeah.
it's almost a catch 22, but
I mean, you can't be perfect. Like, there's nothing, you can't be
no.
perfect in everything. It's just being, um, making an effort,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
some type of effort. Like, after watching 2 episodes of that show, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat less meat. I'm gonna try to,
Really?
and that's not only for the environment, that's also for my health.
Yourself, yeah. I guess I'm gonna definitely take in that
Yeah,
movie or that
it's good
document.
so far. So far, it's good.
How many series? How many episodes is
I
it?
don't even know. It's not a lot though. I want to say six to
Okay.
eight, standard
Okay.
6 to 8,
That's fine.
somewhere in
That's
there.
good. That's
Yeah,
something you can binge
it's that much.
in a day. That's not a problem because I've been watching CSI
Mm.
and like the original. So I'm on I think season 8 right now.
Like, you
Uh,
restarted it from the top.
Restarted from the beginning, and I think mid first or second season. Well, we'll call it second season. They sent in CSI Miami for an episode, like a cross thing, and
Mm.
that's when most people went to Miami. Where I was like, you know what? Let me finish CSI regular,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
I'll go into CSI Miami, and then they have other ones too. But yeah, that's what I've been
Well, they
watching.
brought it
But
back too, right? You know,
yeah,
watch
yeah, it
the
says CSI
return.
Las Vegas,
Right.
and they brought some the originals back and some others. So I was actually doing a lot of uh research on why certain people leave the show, and
Mm.
majority of them, yeah, the contracts that they have for them, they're not making that much as you would think
No,
for
I
working
would
on a
think that,
show for a very a successful show for so long. Some people say, I'm not getting what I want, so I'm out, and then they'll
especially on an ensemble quote unquote cast.
yeah.
But in those cases, they kind of have the lead people who
Hmm.
probably get to pay,
Hmm.
and then everybody else is like sideshow Bob.
The question is when that lead person is disgruntled or wants more, and they choose to leave, does that now does that leave the show in limbo, or do they kind of pass the torch to someone else that's on the show that probably could carry it? Because some of them can't carry it and it dies out. Right? Look at
Well, they
that.
do try. I mean, even in CSI, they brought in Lawrence Fishburne, and then
Hmm.
They
Mhm.
brought in what's the other guy's name again?
Ted Danson they brought in as
Ted
well.
Danson after
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
they try, and I guess to their credit, it's still going. So maybe that
Well,
does work. I mean,
I
it
think
stopped, but it's back. So maybe it does work.
yeah, yeah.
Law and Order is another example of that. Law and Order's been on.
Criminal Minds, I think, was probably
Well,
the best
for
on
me, I enjoyed Criminal Minds,
yeah,
and they
but I
brought
think
that back to
that's
Toronto.
that's the one that's the one ensemble that didn't really change. You know what I
No,
mean?
they
It just
changed. Criminal, yeah, they changed.
no, what I
Oh,
mean, like
Criminal
the
Minds. Sorry, I'm
yes.
thinking of different. I'm thinking Criminal Intent, like an idiot.
No,
Criminal
Criminal
Minds.
Minds, they're in,
Criminal Minds changed.
no, they did. They did change.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that they didn't blow up the whole cast and change
No, not
everybody,
completely.
right? They had people that are they're mainstream and they brought the core cast back from time to time to keep
Hmm.
things going and keep things fresh because again, that's what people I mean when you're going with a show for about 10 years, people, get attached to that,
Yeah,
right? And then poof, when you blow it up or someone wants to leave or whatever, or even when someone passes away,
that
that's
too.
another thing too. Because I was
I think the
watching.
audience also can get bored of seeing the same people all the time too.
True, true, true. Some people
There are
want fresh.
various factors, or the actors get bored of playing the character for 15
Yes,
years.
and then
All
they
these
get
different
they
things.
get typecast, right?
Yeah,
And they never
yeah,
get to go anywhere else and do
yeah,
anything else other than like, I know you from CSI or I know you from
yeah. That's
Fresh
all I know
Prince of
you for.
Bel Air or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, and I think that's what's that guy there uh from American Pie. Like that dude was
Oh, I forget his name, but
Stifler.
I know you're talking about.
Sean
Yeah,
Williams or where some Michael Thomas, something like that. I forget his name, but
yeah.
it's not coming to you. But he's always been casted as that Joker, dumb, high, weird guy.
Dry
Every
humor guy.
yeah, and I'm like, man, that's and he said it himself. Said, yeah, I was typecast. I didn't even want to act anymore because everything I was acting was the same character.
Yeah,
And you're right. But again, it made you some money, made you some good money.
yeah.
Just if you can accept that and go on, go
It's
on.
crazy. It's supposed to launch their career pretty much, and then they get
Hmm.
stuck in that same role, and it's like, oh man, I didn't
Hmm.
want to play that character for this long. Or I
Exactly.
shouldn't have played that character for this long.
And when they wanted to
Hurtful.
change it to
Hmm.
go somewhere else or do a movie, whatever, and they see that person, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see you, and then
It's
the
like
movie
I
flops.
just watched an interview, and I wasn't a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger watcher at all,
Hmm.
but the not the original black guy, but the I forget his name right now, man. But a lighter skinned black guy, and he was Red Ranger on one of the versions of Power
Okay,
Rangers.
okay, okay.
And he was saying he didn't want to do it because prior to him doing it, Power Rangers didn't do anything else after Power Rangers. Everybody who played a
Yeah,
Power Ranger, that
they're
was it.
done.
They were done after that. So he wasn't so sure he wanted to do it. And then he did it. And but afterwards he got other rules. He's like, okay, so this is not the curse is broken, but that's just an example.
No, you're right. I mean, name how many movies, shows that you've seen any of those Power Rangers or even the kids shows? I mean, the next two probably Raven Simone. I don't think anyone had kind of, or even Miley Cyrus too. She's done things outside of the Disney slash,
Mhm.
kid
A lot
show
of them
whatever.
do, but they're not bigger than the original. Like even the people you name,
Yeah,
Raven Simone's not gonna be she's not bigger than That's So Raven.
you're
She
right.
hasn't been bigger than even when she was on Cosby Show. Like those are the two shows she's gonna be known for forever.
Right.
Hannah Montana is gonna be Miley Cyrus lucked out with her music career.
Yeah, yeah, and
That
she's
helped.
she's blessed. She was blessed. Her, Britney, Justin Timberlake,
Yeah,
all those guys were
yeah,
blessed because they had talent outside of the acting that they were
right.
doing. I actually
And
was
and it's timing too, because there was a time where even if you were
mhm,
you were either a triple threat or you weren't. So
yeah,
you either do both from the jump, Sammy Davis Jr. and da da da.
mhm,
But then even there was a gap after those guys where you
yeah.
weren't allowed to do
No, you're
one and
taking money
one.
from you're taking money meal positions from
Yeah,
other people,
yeah,
double
it's
dipping.
crazy.
So yeah, I hear you.
Limitation.
Actually, funny thing, I was
Mhm,
doing research again, almost for this type of show, and I
mhm,
found out what didn't really find out, but I knew, but I didn't really know.
mhm.
Alanis Morissette, she was on that show. Can't say that on
Yeah,
television.
um,
Didn't realize.
we can't do that on television.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
realize until I saw the picture of the cast, original cast, and I'm
yeah,
like, so she originally started in acting.
Yeah.
And like most people don't know because they only know Alanis Morissette as what she is now. So
Yeah.
again, sometimes just getting yourself in the door in show business
Exactly.
is
Drake,
Drake too. Drake too. Yeah.
probably the
Now
greatest example of that.
he probably was music before acting, but again, he has to take take that bullet and say, let me just put myself in front of people. And maybe he was doing some freestyle in the back, maybe he was
Right.
talking some rhymes
Right.
in the break room or whatever, and then feels,
Yeah.
hey, you got some skills, and then poof,
Yeah.
he's the most popular one of
Speaking
the
as
most
a
popular.
person who considers himself an artist, I think as an artist, and I don't consider myself like a full blown, my whole life is centered around art and creativity. There's guys like that out there. But if you're an artist to a degree, you're gonna try various forms of expression in art,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and even outside to a degree. But um, I always want to act. I've always wanted to paint, or and I've tried a couple of things. Like I've tried those things. I haven't gone with them at reckless abandons, but
Mhm.
music
Mhm.
being my main form of creativity or my main outlet,
Mhm.
dancing. Because even with just within hip hop, like the elements of hip hop are all different types of art. They're
Yep.
graffiti, dancing,
Mhm.
DJing,
Mhm.
rapping, and I've dabbled in all of those things.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think as an artist, you try the things, you try those things.
And you never know when that can kind of pop off and make
Right,
you that superstar. So yeah, he probably was
right.
dabbling just because
And I'm
he
even
liked
saying,
being
sorry to cut
creative.
you off. I'm even
Mhm.
saying, even when that's not your mindset, is not, you're doing it for fun because you
Mhm. No,
enjoy
no,
it.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you just
yeah.
enjoy doing those things. It, to your point, so happens one might take off, and that's where you have to go for money. But that
Mhm.
doesn't mean you still don't like even Drake doesn't act really anymore. But you watch his videos, he's acting.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure.
Right.
And again, there's a lot of uh actors, musicians, and so forth who do paint, who art, do art, and they'll be putting it in their art rooms, or they'll even try to sell it. I don't even say, well, I don't even know if they
Some
sell
will,
it, but
some will, yeah,
yeah, but you'll see. Like I think it was Andre 3000 who was doing a lot of artwork at one point.
yeah. He does
Yeah,
art.
yeah.
I was
So
gonna bring him up too
yeah, the
because he went
passion
from
is
to
still
flute.
there.
He
Yeah,
made a flute album. He's on tour doing
exactly.
flute work.
And people
Eh,
already jumped on top of that
yeah,
for beats, and I'm like, yeah, no matter
pushing your
what.
boundary, man. You just gotta push your
Exactly.
boundary in anything.
Exactly.
Like, and that's not even just for artists. In anything, you gotta
That's
push
true.
your boundary.
You
Yeah,
have to test the limits always.
exactly,
You never know what's gonna take.
exactly.
So you never give up. That's the real thing. Never
Facts,
give up.
facts.
Um, actually, now that I was watching some of our takes, I'm like, we forgot. What have you done to better yourself or improve
Oh yeah,
yourself
yeah, yeah, yeah.
today?
What have you done to better yourself today?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should ask that. I was thinking about that before we came on because when we were talking about doing a pod, I was doing what I was doing to make myself better. So there's MIT, the famous Massachusetts
Yeah.
university.
Yeah.
They have what they call courses. So they're
Okay.
free courses that you could go and take. I think some of them give certificates or whatever to that degree. I'm not entirely certain, but different courses, different subjects, everything from algebra to photography to studying Mozart, all kind of different courses. So I'm currently taking one that's called Just Banking, and just as in what they call a shoot, I just forgot it, but it's basically socially responsible investing. That's it, SRIs, socially responsible investing. So it's banks that are not your typical put your money in, you don't care what they do with your money,
Right.
you get your interest on top of it, blah 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 type bank. It's more of since, especially since pandemic, or more so since the financial crisis we had, like in 2007, 2008.
Hmm.
More people started to be concerned with, well, what is my bank doing with my money? Or are they
I always see that
investing?
commercial. Yeah.
One of the best examples they gave was Switzerland is known for housing criminal funds, or
Offshore.
not even
So yeah.
criminal, but questionable
Yeah. Yeah.
characters funds.
Yeah.
So that terrorists, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I get
you
it.
know what
I
I
get it.
mean? All these different groups of
Mobsters and
people,
whatnot. Yeah.
mobsters, all these different people who would, because their laws allowed them to do that.
Mm.
So a lot of people in Switzerland start to question, well,
Mhm.
why? What are you doing investing in this guy or allowing this guy? You're buying guns or you're investing in guns for this
Mhm.
war over here and all that,
Mhm.
which is
Mm.
basically what if you do your history, is what the central bank or banking industry was built on, was investing in people's wars, sometimes both sides, which is
War makes
crazy,
money. War
right?
makes money.
Just trying to
War's a
make
business.
money,
Yeah.
or not caring about the environment, or they know they're investing in companies who they know, or apartheid as a better example.
Mm.
When there was a started to become sanctions on apartheid, there's banks invested in the countries or invested in those governments,
Right.
so that type of thing. So yeah, what I did better today is I watched a couple of videos on that course, within that course. Just
Okay.
a
Oh, okay.
long-winded answer.
That's great. And how long is this? How long is the course supposed to last?
It's technically 5 weeks, but it's go at your own pace type
Ah.
of thing.
Okay.
Technically,
Okay.
I'm ahead because I finished the first week in like a day, or
Oh, you
no,
just kind of.
in a weekend, not a day. But it's I mean, I would say check it out. You should check it out just to see if you see something interesting. This
Mhm.
particular course, it's nothing hard
Not too
so far, and
demanding.
I thought it would be because I'm not a numbers guy and all that.
Right.
But that's kind of why I took it.
Fair enough. Fair
Just
enough.
and it's not what I expected, because it's not like it is teaching you about what the banks do in general,
Hmm.
while also teaching you about what they could do better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And you as a person could do better.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. That's
Mhm.
cool. That's
What
everything.
about you?
Me, I was practicing the old horn, man. Practicing the
See,
horn.
speaking of
Uh,
man who blow
I
things, pause.
pause. But I've been taking lessons. I've done two so far.
Mhm.
Online with a gentleman who I believe is in New York.
Okay,
Uh and
that's dope.
and right off the hop I told him, "Hey, you know what? I've done this before. I just need to retrain the brain to get it back to where I want." So the first episode or first lesson was just that, just trying to get back to how to get
Mm.
my jaw position, how to breathe, and so
Mm.
forth. And within the next one, I was making proper sounds. Down the only negative thing about not doing it for so long is you forget certain hand positions and how and what
Mm.
numbers or what notes and so forth. So he told me, take the time and just use a pen or pencil and write underneath those notes where your hand position should be for each note to get you back into remembering. Because I mean that's 20 years ago. I don't remember what I did freaking last week, let alone 20 years ago. So that's what I've been practicing on right now, and my goal is to record myself playing, I guess, a Disney song or a nice popular song
Mm.
for the show, or for a TikTok, for YouTube, whatnot, and see
Mhm.
if I can get notice of any sort. Because I mean, practice will make perfect. So when you start getting good at it and start doing something, you might anything can come up. Like I said, the arts. We were just talking about the arts.
Right.
Anybody can hear that. I mean, Justin Bieber was found on YouTube from just singing and doing whatever he does. So again, not saying that's my goal, but I'm
Yeah, yeah,
putting
yeah. You
my
never know.
skills
You
and
never know.
talents out there. Hopefully
Yeah.
someone can jump on that and hopefully something big can come from it. So
Dope.
that's
That's
what I
dope.
enjoy the trumpet for sure. And so does my daughter. She loves the trumpet as well. So
Nice.
hopefully that ignites a fire of some type of musical passion for her. Because I mean, you don't know what's next in the schools, right? Because we've talked about that. Whatever is being taught is being taught. But I mean, whatever uh, uh, is being taught might not be something that you can sustain in the future. So something like this talent could be used long term somewhere else. So that's my long-winded answer about what I've done to help myself or better
Dope.
myself today.
Very
Yeah.
dope.
I mean, this is not gonna be a long one. This is not gonna be a
Mm.
long one, but we're gonna talk about some hot topics today.
Yes, sir.
The
Speaking of art
first one,
and
yeah, yeah.
television and all that,
Exactly, exactly. That's our way of kinda setting you guys up for what we're talking about. And the
the
first one, I
jab.
think exactly. The first one is gonna be talking about Miss Wendy Williams. Uh,
Mm,
Now Wendy Williams, is a well-known, um, I guess first she was a radio shock jock, and then she,
yeah,
established herself, as a TV personality.
yeah.
And,
Before she was even a shock jock, she was a hip hop radio show
yes, yes, yes. She
host.
won awards actually,
Yeah, she was
for
pretty
doing that.
dope back
She was
then.
really she was really, promoting the hip hop culture,
Mm,
and kudos to her because I didn't know how much she was in there until I started doing my research for her here, and she's won a few awards and nominated for a lot of things, so yeah, she's been around. She's
yeah.
been around for a while, but unfortunately, I guess life has turned, for not to say worse because she's still alive and kicking and she's fighting, but things are not going well for Miss Williams as she has been diagnosed with, I guess it's aphasia and a frontal temporal dementia, and I do
Mhm.
believe it's because of her drinking, that
Oh, is
has
that what they
caused.
said?
Yeah, yeah, they said that a lot
Okay,
of it is about drinking that has
okay.
caused it, or maybe it was there and that the drinking has magnified
Exasperated it?
the
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, and,
Mm,
there's currently a documentary, or well, there's a two-part docuseries of her, I guess it was supposed to be a comeback video or comeback
yeah,
documentary for her, and they realize, that she really can't come back.
yeah.
It's pretty
It's
much
that bad.
this is it. Yeah, it's that bad. And so I wanted to post this question to you, Slang. Do you
Mhm.
think they were, and I say they as in the production company and the family, were right for putting this whole spin on her life, in terms of showing the pitfalls and the very I want to say sad, but not so positive look on Miss Williams because again, she's not the
Mm.
only one who is really going through this because
Mhm,
Bruce
mhm.
Bruce Willis has also been suffering from dementia, and so is
Yeah,
Jack
yeah.
Nicholas, I
It's a
believe.
common thing.
Jack
Dementia is a common
Nicholson, sorry, one of the two, whatever. But
thing.
those guys have been going through it as well, and they're not doing a documentary for it. They're not putting anything out there for people to
Mhm.
watch and see how they're going through the motions. Do you think it's right for them to do the documentary?
Like, I would think if it was right if the intention was for inform to be informative as, this could happen to you. I don't know if I believe that that's the intention,
Mm,
because I also don't know if I believe I was watching something just now, like this before we came on,
mm,
because I haven't watched the documentary yet. I started no, I didn't even start it. I happened upon it while
mm,
going through TV channels, and I watched like maybe 10 minutes of a piece of an episode, and I was
mhm,
like, "Yeah, I don't know, man."
yeah,
I don't know if I all the way believe that they didn't know that this was happening and this was just a comeback story. I don't know if I all the way believe that. Again, I was watching a clip from the Joe Budden podcast,
mhm,
and Ice was saying something like they left the there's a like one of the first episodes or
mhm,
first instances on the episode is they come to her house to start like the documentary,
mhm.
and you could right away already see something isn't right, and they stop and say, yeah, should we, I don't know if this is right, should we doing this? So at that moment you do know
Yeah,
what's going on
exa
and you chose to continue.
that's I'm glad you point that out because I mean, I'm like, like, you
Yeah,
have to be so far gone before you know, put up the camera and say, "Yo, this woman's not well. Let's" No, because you're at that point.
yep.
Before they even come into the door, you've seen her in the last week, 2
You've
weeks,
experienced
month.
this. It's her
Yeah,
family, right? That's
yeah.
involved. So you come on. I
So
mean, I mean, you could give them a slight blight, like maybe it wasn't as bad, but
fair
you
enough.
can't.
Okay.
I don't believe that you thought she could come back before doing this. There's a bunch of ifs, right? It depends on how long in advance before they negotiated doing this comeback story, all these different things. But I don't all the way believe that was their intent. Well, by them saying they didn't know she was that bad, we already know the intent was not to inform people that this could happen to you. Be careful.
No,
It's
right.
not that. And then, if their intent was to film a comeback story, they're not doing that either. So it's sensationalism. It's just
E-
them capitalizing
exactly.
off of her condition at this point.
It doesn't make sense because again, I've been in production of a TV show and so forth, and that episode, whatever type of series you had, was filmed months, months prior,
Likely,
months. So you
yes.
had to
Yeah.
sit there and go through the editing and
Cutting, yeah.
the cutting and all this stuff to say, hey, someone's comes think, hey, this doesn't look right.
Right,
Why are we doing this to this
right,
woman?
right,
And then you put it out to the, and then on top of that, you're now going to pitch it to whoever is going to sell this story
right.
on their station, on their network. And again, those people are like, oh man, this is a train wreck. We'll take it. We'll give you guys
Perfect.
X amount of
Yeah,
dollars.
exactly. This is a
No
trainer.
problem.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Entertaining. But
exactly.
okay, so here's my question though for you now. In terms of karma, the type of uh I guess you could call journalist that she was, or the type of shows that she had,
Mm-hmm.
the things she reported on about other people, is A, is this karma coming back to bite her in the ass, so to speak? And B, and or B, is it reasonable to say she's not in her right mind, but when she was in her right mind, she was doing this crazy shit anyway? So she should be okay with this because she was doing it to other people.
Yes, I say yes because I don't think I don't know. I don't want to say she doesn't care, but I don't think that it bothers her
Mm,
as much as you would think because she has done it for so long to others. So
mm.
exploiting herself is just another dollar for her, and she probably is not even in her right mind to understand. Right? She's not making the
And
calls.
that might be the only problem.
Right? Yeah, she's not making the calls. Now, if
Yeah,
she was making the calls and she says, "Yeah, let's go with the flow," okay, because look at
right.
the Kardashians. That's a place that they know what they're doing and they know what type of feedback they're going to get, whether positive or negative. They say, "Yeah, let's roll with it. We all
Mhm,
right?"
mhm,
So yeah, I believe they, I believe karma. Yes, I'll say karma
mhm,
because I mean
mhm,
it is a I don't call it supernatural, but it is a thing. Uh,
mhm.
and and at the same time, is it deserved? I don't think so. But again,
No, yeah,
she
that's yeah. I don't know if deserves the word.
but again, like you said, she's done it to others.
Mhm,
So I don't think it would bother her per se. Her, it's the
mhm.
team that has the moral compass to say, you know what, I don't know if we should
Yeah,
do this.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's the team. But
Mhm,
again, they put it out there. Who knows? I don't even know because again, it's a documentary or docu series or whatnot. So it's not something that you're going to continue to make money off of. It's a one time. Here you go. It's out there. I don't know if they're going to show it again. Like I don't know
yeah,
if
I'm
it's
sure
going to
they
be
will. It's
recurring.
Lifetime. I'm sure they will. I'm
Right.
sure they
So
will. Maybe not like like soon, but it'll be on some form of syndication, especially if the ratings are good.
and again, that's the thing. It's all about the ratings. So whether it does well, sorry, if it does well, do they push for some more? Do they say, let's follow up, let's do this, let's do that? Because again,
They will.
it's
Again, this is Lifetime. Lifetime does these biopics on multiple celebrities, and it's usually the darker side of those celebrities' lives. Uh, it's entertainment, and sadly,
we get
we find
entertainment
it
here.
entertaining. Other people's suffering is entertaining to others, to people.
It reminds me of that the surviving R. Kelly. You know,
Lifetime did that too, no?
I believe so. But
Yeah, I
then
think so.
there's also was it Chasing Neverland or whatever the one with
Yeah,
Michael Jackson? Like
yeah.
all these really sad situations,
Mhm.
and just say, let's put it on TV so everybody can hear it and see and make their opinions and so forth. And we'll make a bunch of money from it.
Mhm.
That's what it is. Now, with that being said, we have this new high profile superstar, Sean Puff Daddy, Diddy, whatever he wants to call him.
Brother Love.
Is it Brother Love now?
It's
Yeah.
another one. It's another one.
Brother Love Combs is
Changes his
now
name every week.
in the news. Well, he's been in the news for a while, but he is now getting allegations after allegation after allegations on sexual assault
Mhm.
and even sexual relations with a lot of high profile artists that has crossed his path. The highest profile one would be Meek Mills, the rapper, that he was having relations with.
Freak
Um,
Mills.
my question is, do you think this is all true?
Okay, so again, doing some research before I started this thing.
Mm,
Um, keeping it 100, I think the Cassie stuff was true for the most part.
okay.
Um, keeping in mind when you do anything like lawsuits you try to go as far extreme as you can with the facts.
Hmm.
So there's embellishment of facts that usually goes on by your lawyer or whatever when you're trying to sue somebody. So when I say for the most part, I'm not trying to downplay what happened to her. I'm just saying it may not have been as, I don't even want to say as bad as it was, but you get the point.
Yeah, yeah,
She's
I
gonna
get.
she's gonna her lawyers are gonna,
Yeah,
if
embellish.
right.
Yeah,
Like I'm not like, if she said she got raped, she got raped. I'm just saying the details of the rape
right,
might
right.
be more graphic than they
Yeah,
were, and our
yeah,
memories are different than
of
what
course,
actually happens and all that jazz.
of course, of course.
Again, not to downplay it because I totally believe that
Hmm.
a lot of that stuff happened, if not all of
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Um, which I think him settling that case before it went to trial,
Mm.
A, leads to why I believe it, but B, opened the door for this other stuff that's now happening to him.
Okay.
Right. So
Pause. Hold on. Pause right there. Pause right there. So you're saying if a person settles, that
mhm.
is admitting guilt? Is that what you're saying?
Not
Okay.
necessarily.
I just want to make sure because again,
Yeah,
might
not necessarily. I don't
some
know if
people
it's
might say, hey,
admitting
you know
guilt,
what? Right.
but it might, like, again, case to case basis. That's a case to case basis thing
Hmm. Hmm.
because it might be you don't want this to go on in the public too long.
Right. Right.
So let's just get it over with. Oh, you're gonna
Right.
take this money? Cool, because I don't want us to be talking about this for a year later and it's destroying my brand, destroying my name.
Hmm.
Or it could be like if we're just talking a business lawsuit,
Hmm.
it could be I don't want to get tied up in the
Legality. Yep.
legalities of it and paying my lawyer all this money
Right.
when this is going to be cheaper for me
Right.
if I just
Right.
pay you
Pay
what
you
you're
and then go
asking for.
back to making the
Yeah,
money
and
back.
then give you an NDA and you can't ever talk about it again. So
Right.
hopefully by
Right.
this time next year, not only that it's gone away,
Right.
nobody cares too much about it. So
Okay.
not necessarily, but I believe, or the third thing is, sorry, which is what I believe here,
Hmm.
is some of it's true. And if we go to court and I have to say some of it is true, all of it's going to be viewed as true. And some of the things that I don't want people to know about that like
Yeah. Yeah. No,
like
I
my
get it.
ex-girlfriend's going to know some things about me that none of the world knows.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I don't want the world to know about this. So
And,
I think all those are a factor there.
and that even brings up the whole, like, all these topics talk about the high profile artists and actors and actresses and whatnot. That goes with the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. You heard things that you would never think that these people are going through with the fights and the cutting of the finger and this and that and
Right,
shitting on the bed. I'm like, whoa, you
right,
want that out so that
right,
I can understand what you're saying. Because you know what, it's less of a headache to just pay it off and let it go away. I'm
right,
not saying I did it, but I
right,
don't want the headache of
right,
having it to come up all the time and explaining myself. or this person finding something new, taking back the court and running through the whole rigmarole, and I have to now pay
Right.
lawyers and pay people to help fight again another fight. I get
Right.
it. So I like that answer definitely. So but now with uh with Diddy here,
Mhm.
he has had a pretty interesting track record
Mhm.
of situations. So I'm
Okay.
surprised that he is not paying off anybody else, like putting this to bed, because more and more are coming out,
Mhm.
and it just seems like he can't catch a break. Just going through the timeline of everything, and it just has all been going on since what early '90s, early '90s.
90s? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he had a
Oh, are we
lawsuit
talking about,
against
like,
him.
the shooting in the club and
Well, the shooting in
all
the
that kind
club
of
or
stuff?
the threatening of the photographer was '96, but he had based on what it says in 1991, according to a November 2023 lawsuit, Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall allegedly sexually assaulted an unnamed victim and a friend after a music industry event, then beat her several days later when confronted.
Oh,
So
but that's in, like, in a different suit of this year, right?
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like once,
But it's
but
citing
now,
stuff that happened back then.
yes,
Okay, I
yes.
see.
So it seems to be he has a pretty horrible track record with the law, and no one knew about it. Like
Well, it's not
when I
really a
say when
track
I say,
record
when I
with the
say
law.
nobody, I mean the public eye
People
just saw
people
Diddy.
accusing him of stuff. Uh, and again, I'm not okay, there's 2 sides of this, right? Like, there's if you're rich and famous,
Hmm.
that combination in particular, rich and famous,
Right.
there are gonna be people that are gonna try to take advantage of you in some way because they know your status is important to your money. Like,
True.
your fame is as important to you as because it is what makes you your money.
Okay.
So, again, and the other side of that is being rich and famous affords you the luxury of doing things that you may not get away with
Mm,
when you're broke or you don't have money and you're not so famous
this is
because
true.
you can there's things you can manipulate with your money and your fame that you can't do if you don't have those things.
This is true.
So both sides of that thing, it's hard for you to say yes or no, it's true or not. Do I believe that Puffy, P. Diddy, Brother Love involved himself in some suspect behavior? I do.
Mm.
I do believe that.
With
I
other
believe that of a
artists
lot of
too.
rich people or
Oh,
on his level of
right.
fame and money. I believe that a lot of them. I think I said this before. Um,
We've talked about it before.
there's an
Yes.
interview with is it Gene Simmons from Kiss? Is that his
Hmm.
name?
Hmm. Hmm.
One of those Kiss guys. And
Hmm.
he was it Kiss or Rolling Stones? I always forget. Anyway, no, sorry, it's a book. It's a book, and it was a book from with the guitarist in Rolling Stones, I believe.
Oh,
Hopefully,
okay.
I'm not misquoting. But he basically says to the degree of you get rich, you get famous, you get any girl you want. Then you get any 2 girls you want a night. Then you get any 3 girls you want a night. And then after you get all that, it's like, this is boring. Let me try a guy, which
Wow.
is wild. But
But
human nature is never satisfied. So I could see people doing this thing, men and women.
okay, so now I throw this out there, and again, you're pretty open here with talk conversations, but with this with how the world is right now,
Mhm.
society and the acceptance of everything, why are people still hiding that they probably are doing these things? Like, does it ruin their brand? There's a lot of homosexual men that are
Well,
artists. There's a lot of homosexual women that are artists.
yeah.
So if you find out, or you are now admitting that you are,
Mhm.
okay, more power to you. That's your choice. That's in your bedroom. That's whatever. That shouldn't affect your singing, your dancing, your artwork, your acting. It's your choice.
It shouldn't. I agree, but I also could see how it would. for various reasons, but
Mhm.
let's stick to the Puffy thing. He is
Mhm.
an urban artist. There's a stigma.
Oh, 100%.
He's an urban hip hop artist or a hip hop producer or
Mhm.
a hip hop mogul, however you want to. He's expanded past that, but that's
Mhm.
his foundation.
Right.
And there is a stigma there, especially. And yes, the stigma has changed in that we're more acceptable
Mhm.
of the LGBTQ community
Right.
in hip hop, but it's still a thing where how did you start out? Like, I don't know how accepting we are because I don't think this has happened yet. That an artist is gonna come out and he was women, women, women. I'm hetero, 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 and then all of a sudden, I'm bi or I'm homosexual.
Well, I believe there's a lot of them that are like that. They don't get the coverage as Diddy, Mr. Combs would get if he does come out and
That
says,
have
"Hey,
changed over time.
yeah,
I don't know any. I
he's got it." I mean,
I don't know
again,
if you.
they're not
I'm not
popular.
saying that but that's the point. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I'm
yeah.
not saying that. Not even the change because they probably always were
Mm,
homosexual, but to announce it to the world now after
mm.
decades or years of presenting like you're heterosexual, I don't know if
Mm.
that's going to wash with us. I don't know if
In
everybody. I don't know if people are
in
going
the urban in the
in
urban.
especially in the urban community. And
Okay.
the thing about that is when we say urban, a lot of people think it's black.
No,
And that's
no,
not what I'm even saying because
no, no.
go to concerts, it's mostly white
Mhm.
kids. But those white kids buy into what you have been selling.
Right.
They buy into that alpha male or whatever. I
Yeah.
hate
No.
using
No.
that term,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that
No. But I
that
get it.
way of women, I get all these girls and
Right. Right.
girls around the world and different hoes and area codes and
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
different things that are very hip-hop oriented
Mhm.
until very recently. We're not even talking maybe 10 years. I don't even think it's that long that we've been accepting, and we've been more accepting of women that are
Mm.
not heterosexual, not so much the men. Little Nas X doesn't get the respect from most quote unquote hip hop heads. He
This
might
is
get it
true.
from outside that community, but not
Mhm.
inside of it that much. But we're cool with Young M.A. We're okay with Queen Latifah. We're okay with the Brat. Actually, those are examples of, and even
Mm.
Queen Latifah has never come out. It's just,
It's
come
just
on, we know,
yeah.
man. We know what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
But the Brat, we've accepted her. So that's an example of somebody who's switched over. Because the
But
Brat,
when I think she always was. He just didn't
no,
announce it
no,
because
not according to her. You would assume, because to your point, where you are correct, is that her image was always kind of like, okay, she looks
right.
like she could go either way.
Right.
But she says no, this is her first female relationship. It's her first lesbian relationship. She used to date Allen Iverson
Mm.
back in the day.
Mm.
So, and I think again, like you said, I think because of the way she dressed, her image was back in the day, it's easier to accept.
Mm.
I don't know how easy it's gonna be to accept that Method Man is into men. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? I don't know how we're gonna,
No,
we might be cool with Andre 3000 being into men. We might be okay with that.
just
But
because of
even then, it's gonna be like,
his
oh man,
style.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And even when what I'm saying is based on a certain stereotype. I'm saying that about Andre 3000 because the way he dresses is not the normal hip hop way of dressing, quote unquote. So
True.
we're more open to the idea. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'd accept these guys just coming out now unless they came out from the jump.
Here's a question now. Say for instance that he was uh actual bisexual, homosexual, whatever, and he came out during his prime, and even when Biggie was alive, do you think he'd be this superstar he is right now?
Not at that time.
No.
Not in the 90s, the early
It
2000s.
hurt. It hurt him.
Yeah, we weren't accepting that at all. That
Mm.
wasn't gonna rock.
Not even us in general, but I'm talking about his his whole leadership. He's running bad
No,
boys. Eh?
that's I was gonna say, like, I don't think he would get the artist associated with him that and the artist might know behind the scenes, like even to
Yeah, that
but
was going to be my
him
next part
being
of the question. Yeah.
overtly, I don't think so. I don't A friend of mine was just saying the other day, like that's probably why Biggie was trying to get away from him because he didn't want Biggie's a Jamaican descendant. Like he's not trying to be involved with that stuff. But
That's what I was going to say. I
that's
said
all
if
speculation at the end of the day. But I could
Biggie was
see,
alive,
yeah, I could see a lot of artists walking away from him because we can't associate ourselves with that,
mm,
especially at that time. Now they wouldn't even say it;
right?
they'd kind of just walk away. But at
Yeah,
that time, they would say it.
he'd probably be hurt. He'd probably get hurt.
Could possibly,
Yeah, I mean, based on
could
the time. Again,
possibly.
I'm not wishing pain or suffering on anybody on the physical side, but back in the day, it wasn't highly accepted as it is now. So yeah, people were getting beat up and broken because of their uh, uh,
Orientation.
preference. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it wasn't the common thing, and we thought people were suffering from a disease or a sickness or whatever, and people were trying
Hmm.
to cure you. And like, nah, now you can get away with that, sure, but before, no, you'd be
Yeah, not
running, you'd be running. Um, um, I was had one more question in terms of
mhm.
this. Um, if if it comes out that he is what he is, does that affect his legacy then?
No, not musically. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's different than R. Kelly thing,
Mhm,
in to make a broad comparison. Again, for me, R. Kelly singing to the little girls that he was doing these bad things to.
mhm,
Puffy's not an artist to that stature. Like he didn't even write his own lyrics from nine times out of ten. Um, it's more about who he discovered and put in the game to
mhm,
make great music.
mhm,
So that part of his legacy, I think, is fine. If we're talking about his personal legacy, maybe, but I don't know him, so I don't care about that so
true,
much.
true.
Um,
Funny that we
but
talk about
mhm,
legacies and whatnot. I just realized we were talking about people back in the day who were, uh, whether they were or not homosexual, bisexual, and so forth. But it came to my mind, like Luther Vandross.
mhm.
He
Another example,
was again uh, assumed to be homosexual. I don't think it was ever admitted, but
not by him.
not
No,
by him.
yeah,
But he never came out and said it.
I don't think so.
And you I want to say not to say assume, but I mean you never saw him with a lady per se
Right,
around.
right.
Uh, but again, even if he did come out and say it, he'd still be great.
Yes,
Yeah, he would be a good.
now, but
Uh,
even then,
you think
this is how I gauge it too. Because
he was
even
different?
then, there are people when you would bring up that speculation that he was gay,
Hmm.
there were people who were like, "Nah, not Luther. Luther, nah." And
Hmm.
that doesn't even come from a place of logic. That's just because they like him, like they
Yeah,
love his music, and when they listen to it, it invokes a certain feeling, so they don't want to associate that feeling with
yeah,
homosexuality.
yeah, yeah. I
Especially
got you.
again, especially back then. If it came out now, like one of his family members came out and said, "Oh, Luther
Right.
had a boyfriend for this many years, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
just didn't want nobody to know." Most people would be like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see that."
But back then, no.
But back then, definitely, I give you another one because I recently heard this.
Mhm.
Sherman Hemsley,
Sherman Helmsley.
Mr. Jefferson,
Really?
they say he was gay. They say,
No.
Garrett Morgan that was on Martin,
Yeah.
um, and he was on something else too. But yeah, him, uh, pretty well known actor within the black community.
Really?
He stated that, yeah, it was a known thing in
George?
the industry, but it
George?
wasn't. George Jefferson was gay. That's what he said.
Was he
And
not
then
married at the time though?
he
Like, did he
might have
not
even
have a
been married. But sign of the times again. Let me say this though about the
mm,
Puffy thing, because there's a part where I was going to get to if when you ask me if I believe it or not. So I
mhm,
believe the Cassie one, There's the one that just came out with this guy named, I think it's Ronnie Jackson or Ronnie Jerkins or something like that. Rod Jackson's or something like that.
Recently, like, as it was it old or was it new?
No, it's for like the last lawsuit that he's getting. And
Oh, okay.
this guy was a producer on his last album, apparently. So the story goes, he's a
Rodney?
Is it Rodney?
Is it Rodney Jones?
It might be that. That sounds right. That sounds right. But nickname Little Rod.
Yeah, Rodney Jones, yeah. Former producer of Combs.
The irony, Little Rod. Anyhow, so I was watching a couple things just to get prepared for this show, and this one sounds fishy.
Okay.
This guy apparently, before he launched this lawsuit, he was setting up GoFundMe's to ask people to help him raise money so that he could sue Puffy for his production percentages that he hadn't gotten yet. So
Wow.
this one just looks like, well, he's not paying me for my producing. Okay. Oh, I just saw what Cassie did. Oh, okay. All these other stuff. All right, let me try my hand at suing him. That's what this one sounds like. It doesn't sound like it's he claims Puffy made him watch a porn with Stevie J and another man on it, and apparently it was not Stevie J, another guy, like an actual porn star.
Actual porn star came on and said, "Yeah, that's me.
That's me."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this one looks sus, but again, the settling thing makes people think, much to your question, well, maybe he is guilty. Maybe I could get him to settle with me.
See, and that's why I said, you know what, settling, because I'm going back to other people who have settled just because Michael Jackson's situation. He settled.
Right.
As much as people think he did this and did that, I mean, really and truly, he just wanted to settle this, just stop the noise.
Yeah.
And because now, further on, now when he's passed, people are still trying to get money from this guy because of the settlement, right? So I get it. That's why I had to ask the question: do you think settlement admits
not
guilt?
Not necessarily. Sometimes you just don't want to open the books, right? Sometimes you don't
right.
even want to. You're gonna have to show people how much you make and what you paid for, and what you didn't pay for. You don't want to. You don't want.
And then
You
more
might be doing some shady stuff there.
Yep, the Pandora's box is open, and then everything is inquired.
Exactly.
Why do you have this person, a known gangster, in your pocketbook as a contact, or why do you have this person that is in Australia and blah? So yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
Again, not everybody's running the straight and narrow to be successful.
Right.
At the same time, what you don't see or what you don't hear, you don't know or care about.
That's right. It's a fact.
Yeah. So that's. I mean, this is the beginning. I guess this story is our R. Kelly moment, I guess, now. And I guess people are, I'm not really interested in it, to be honest.
In the Puffy?
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Yeah, not super interested.
I'm not. I wasn't even really interested in the Wendy Williams because, again, I don't want to see somebody showing themselves deteriorating back, like over and over and over, to a point where now you're going to show a funeral of her and whatnot, right? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Now, give her to get the on the flip side, Michael Jackson, he did the whole "this is it" thing, thinking he was going to come back. He passed unexpectedly, and they still put out the whole situation. Different story, right?
Yeah.
There was an unknown there, whereas this is known, and they're still putting it out there for people to watch. You want to watch the train wreck? Go ahead. And the thing is, people will watch.
Yep.
People will comment, and she'll be trending until she.
And it might even be different if she wasn't with us anymore. That also might make it different.
Yeah.
Like if she's dead and then they put it out. But they're capitalizing on it while it's happening. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Sucks.
And she might be involved. So again, she might
she has
be
kids.
fine with it, whether she's in the right state of mind or not. We don't know.
If she's in a spot to help her family financially, and this is what she's
it
going to
might be a money move.
Yeah, it could be a money move. So again, I can't fault it. I just don't. I don't want to watch the train wreck. It just doesn't.
And I'm not a Wendy Williams fan like that anyway.
No, myself as well. I was never a Wendy Williams fan. I mean, when the memes came up of her doing weird things and her facial expressions, other than
that's what got me, bro. Like when I caught on to it, and she's talking, and she's like, her face is super thin.
Yeah,
she looks like a damn near skeleton.
Yeah,
and she's like talking like
Yeah.
this all the
And
time, and I'm just like, yo, what the?
yeah.
Nah, bro,
Yeah.
I can't. This is not for me.
I'm not trying to be funny, but she looked like that person from Tales from the Crypt. You know that
Yes, no lie.
it was scary. And I'm like, I'm not saying I was emotional, but I'm like, I feel bad because
No,
people are they're putting this image on the TV for people
yeah.
to watch. And a
So
lot of
those
people,
guys, the JP Joe Budden, they were talking about
yeah,
it, saying that some people watching it and they're crying, like you can't stop crying watching it because that's how sad it is.
yeah,
Yeah, no, bro, I'm good.
it's bad. I can't
I'm
do it.
good. I'm
I
good.
can't.
That's not informative to me. And it
No,
could be informative, but it sounds more like it's exploitive.
but not how not how they're presenting it. It's
Right.
not
Right.
informative. If they did another way, like, oh, we
Yeah.
caught this and blah blah blah, and we're gonna go through check the docs and blah blah blah. But it wasn't. It's like
No.
sitting on the couch talking about her comeback or whatever. I'm like, what comeback? Like
Come back to where?
you're done, girl.
You need health.
And
You
the
need to come
cameras are
back
just
healthy.
zooming in on her face, and then he's doing the
Yeah.
wide eye. I'm like, bro, just cut the cameras, guys. Come on,
Yeah.
give her some
Sad
space,
world.
give her some peace.
Sad
But
world.
that's how it is. That's how it is. Anyways,
Mhm.
yeah, another great episode. Again,
Deserve.
2 hot topics. We got another a great show for you planned. Hopefully,
Mhm.
we definitely got to do some more entertainment stuff. I think because I think that's the bread and butter of what's going on right now. I think I like
Sure.
it. I like talking about good entertainment, anyways,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
not just the Wendy
In our
Williams, but
way.
things.
In our own
Yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll get some more out for you guys for sure.
Deserve.
Um, Other than that, hey, Slang, you have a great rest of your day, and we'll
Likewise,
definitely
sir.
hit back again soon. All
Indeed.
right, everybody else,
Peace,
we're out of
people.
here. Peace out.